would really encourage people to think through their Pinterest strategy. If you look at the overall sources of traffic on the internet, one of the subsets that I mentioned previously was organic social. And if you look at organic social, you might be shocked to find out that, of course, Facebook is number one, but quickly behind that for many, many e-commerce sellers is Pinterest. And in fact, in our case, Pinterest has now become the referrer, like 2 to 3 times more traffic than Facebook. And so regardless of whether you sell on Amazon or on Shopify, you can think through, how do you use Pinterest effectively? On your website, of course, that means including a lot of graphics that have text on them. So anytime you do a blog post, anytime you do information on your site, you want to have a label on it that looks vibrant and engaging, that describes what it is that people would click on Pinterest to then learn more or go to your site. And all of those pins in Pinterest drive traffic to your site. And I got to tell you, they just stack up. People repin good things. And you could end up with things on Pinterest that are repinned hundreds or even thousands of times, sending traffic to your product or to your website for years to come. And it's almost like a viral event. If you get the wording right and you get the image right, Pinterest can send a landslide of traffic to your e-commerce effort. Yeah.
Likewise with Pinterest. We get a lot of traffic and sales from Pinterest for our e-commerce store because of weddings is a hot topic in Pinterest. So if you go to our site, you'll notice all the blog posts and all of the products have these long, tall, and skinny images that people can actually pin.
And promoting on Pinterest.
One of the areas for one of the products, Pinterest, but it's a very specific product. This is a beauty product. So people, if you're in beauty and you can get a couple of boards going and promote those pins, Pinterest has the highest average dollar order value. So out of all of the social media groups. So that would be one that's overlooked quite a bit.
I would say Pinterest is more like Google in a way. So people like to pin pictures for ideas that they can revisit later. So for example, if we have like a wedding craft, people will pin that on their pinning board because maybe later on during their wedding, they might want to refer to that and look at that piece of content, do some sort of DIY project. Likewise, if they see products, they might pin them. It's kind of like a shopping cart in a way, a future shopping cart that they pin, and then other people repin if the photo is good. And that's kind of how the ideas spread. But you have to have your images formatted in a certain way. We format all of our images 600 by 900 pixels. And because they occupy more real estate on a Pinterest board. And if your photo is good and it's appealing, then people will tend to share and repin that content and drive traffic to your products. Mostly to content. Content works better than products. But, oftentimes you can get real sales if people go to your category pages of your products. So you got to make sure all of your category pages and all of your products have these attractive, tall, and skinny images.
Pinterest should just be seen as a search engine with beautiful images. It's an interesting platform. It's actually 68% women. So depending on what your brand is, it could very well be one of those platforms that just doesn't make sense for you. It's a search engine for inspiration. So like I'm redoing my kitchen right now and I went into Pinterest instead of Google to type in like white cabinets with wood countertops. And I'm going to look at Pinterest for inspiration of just looks I like. And once I find those pins, I probably have wound up on 20 different blog sites or like the best DIY tips for redoing your kitchen or for painting your countertops white. So I think it's best for those kind of situations and for retail as well, because just think of it as a search engine for inspiration.
Content we use for our agency side of the business. We've not really used it for at the products that we sell on Amazon Japan. My business partner Neil, he uses a lot of content, and I know he uses Pinterest quite successfully for selling his products. He sells products in the sort of baby and childcare space. And so that has been a really good route for traffic for him, doing content and promoting on Pinterest.
We like Pinterest for showing different photographs or products. Another area is contests. So on Pinterest, let's say that you have and this is awesome for self-generated promotion. You know, you're not spending any money on product reviews or product demo videos, but you put out a contest and you tell people that, hey, show us, you know, something with the product, do a video, and you have a chance to win a $100 Amazon card or something. People are going to do that. Like, there's hundreds. There's Instagram accounts where I can show you hundreds and hundreds of people have shown off, you know, either their dog having the product, or dog doing a trick, or, you know, it could be anything. I'm just using dogs as an example.
Pinterest.
If Pinterest is something that you can do and you have a lot of images on your products, Pinterest is a good way to go, because people are going to start penning these things up. And then Pinterest is also about content as well, right? You can create an image of a beautiful room with that lamp, and then you can link that lamp out to your product. And then if you're advertising on there as well, it's likely that Pinterest is going to be cheaper because there's less people on there, but you can still be very targeted. You don't need to target 1 billion people. You can target the 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 people that are actually going to buy your product. So if Twitter is the place where you're able to do something like that and it's relevant to your product, then yeah, I would say definitely go for it. I don't think it's out of fashion or anything. I personally think if you have the money, you should be everywhere. You should be chasing people down as hard as you can. But I know most people are probably, a lot of people who may be watching this are probably in some sort of startup phase. I think analyze the social media platforms that are right for you, test them out, and see how it goes.
Have you tried this? There is a way in Pinterest that I've seen to tag somehow, to connect it to Amazon product or to a Shopify product,
Yes,
where it shows the
yes.
price. Have you tried
Yes,
that?
those are called rich pins. And yes, absolutely. You should implement this with your store. It's simply a markup that you put on your store that basically tells Pinterest what the price is and a direct link to the product itself. So that way, when you're browsing, like there's a price that's actually there when you're actually on running Pinterest. And that way, when someone clicks on it, they know it's actually an e-commerce store.
It's different ways that you can use Pinterest, but they have promoted pins. So all you're doing is like Facebook or like Instagram, it's a promoted pin. So that pin just gets more exposure, and you can drive it over to your promoted page. But for the boards, same thing as with YouTube, is you create playlists. So playlists are boards in Pinterest. So what do people want to look for? Oh, they still want social proof. So if I've got videos, I'm doing it. If I'm doing, like all our testimonials are on a Pinterest board. We also have all our how-tos on a Pinterest board. But you have to remember, Pinterest is about graphics. So we create the how-tos into infographics. So when people open it up, and it's so easy to do an infographic. There's lots of different tools out there that you can use that will strictly do infographics and make them look professional. Or you can just hire it out. But infographics are great. The other thing that's really eye-catching right now are cinemagraphs and plotographs. So that's an image that you take and you just make a portion of it animated. And there's lots of people that can do that, very inexpensive. You can do it on your own. There's different apps out there that allow you to do this. And like for one of our brands, all we're doing is we're showing the beauty product, and then we're showing, either bubbles coming up behind it, or we had one of our products was for mudders. And that's these crazy people that run these, crazy obstacle courses and get covered in mud. We had a product for mudders specifically. So we had this one lady that it was a still photo. She's covered in mud, and her hair is just dripping down, and you could see the mud coming off of her, like just coming off of her body and her hair. It was very effective. Where does it go? Over to, Pinterest. So just coming up with really cool images and just different boards. And think of the boards as a playlist. So it could be a product specific, it could be a training, like how-tos, benefits, all sorts of different things. And then supporting material as well. So let's say there's a ingredient. So lavender, okay, there's a board for lavender. So you can expand out. And the beautiful graphic can lead back to content. So your content has a link back to Pinterest. So there's so many ways that you can use social media. Another way too that I would suggest with social media is, if you're spending the time to do all this, you want to repurpose the content. So going back to press releases. Okay, what can I do with a press release? Well, with the press release, you can take either the video or the press release and put it on to every single social media channel at different times. You don't want everything to go out at one time, but over to Twitter, Facebook, you can put it on Pinterest, you can put it on YouTube, you can put it on LinkedIn, you can put it anywhere. Then if you tie that into a blog article about the press release, now you've got the blog article that you can go and repurpose everywhere. So tons and tons and tons of content that's coming back, driving some traffic over to you. So those are a few different ways that you can do it.